There's a look at our lead official tonight. That's our ref cam. And that's a look at the ref cam on the opening draw here tonight. We're going to take that shot from time to time here tonight. Cummins has the ref cam. Punto, the other referee. Dockery and Todd are the linesmen. So here we go from St. Paul, the XL Energy Center. Boston has won the season series so far, 2 wins to 1 loss. And Minnesota again with a regulation win can get back into a first place tie with Toronto and Montreal, but they've got to get all 3 points in regulation to do so. Here's Boston back in its own zone. It's going to be bounced off the near wing side and going to drift in. Just moments ago, Gigi Marvin tried to set a Pelkey out in front, and that just failed to click. Of course, Gigi scored a goal here, her only goal of the year against Minnesota. The last time these two teams met in St. Paul, the War Road Minnesota native.
It was an empty net goal that really sealed the deal here at the XL Energy Center, and we talked about it in the open play, but every game between these two teams have come right down to the wire. 2 of them 1-goal games, and the last matchup a 2-goal game.
Look out, here's Heisey, backhand centering pass for DeGeorge, and she just fanned on that out in front. Now here's Heisey again, winds up a blast, kept it low to the ice, and it misses wide of the near post. There's that Taylor Heisey effect we were talking about.
That's what a good player does, is so quickly can turn something into an opportunity, and just by a little cycle like that, she was able to get a good look for Minnesota.
And Claire DeGeorge was right on the doorstep. She's still searching for her first PWHL point. It was a great interview with Julie Friend before the start of the game. She's a nurse, and she's pursuing that as well as her hockey career. All right, let's go back to that Heisey chance, and we'll take a look at the ref cam here for the first time on replay tonight.
Well, Taylor Heisey getting this play going in the corner, wins a puck battle, and then just pops it out into the slot. DeGeorge swings and misses, but Taylor Heisey, for as good of a release and a shot she has, actually has more assists on the season than goals, with 4 assists, making up the majority of her 7 points this season, and it's reasons like that. She just has such a great eye for the ice, knows exactly where to get the puck.
This is her 3rd game back tonight. Missed a month with a shoulder injury. Do you think she's still trying to find her skates underneath her a little bit after that long layoff?
Well, I definitely think it can sometimes take a game or 2, and especially in the PWHL where you're not playing every other night, right? You sometimes have longer chunks of time in between games, so you're working in practice, you're trying to get your strides in during the game. But look at her there on the bench, 7 points this season. Despite the amount of games she missed, 7 points is still 4th best on the team for points this year. So Taylor Heisey has made her mark in her time here, and definitely doesn't look like she's missed much of a beat when she's out there.
That was the 2nd shot on goal for Boston here in the opening period, the opening 4 minutes. Minnesota still officially looking for its first shot on goal tonight. Out of center, Fratkin knocks it ahead. Shopsall played it into the zone. It's kicked back out by Minnesota. Shopsall scored a goal here, the game winner 2.5 weeks ago against Minnesota. Fratkin will bounce it in deep into the Minnesota end. Here's Budarak now on the near wing side. She'll go rink wide. Minnesota coming in with some speed. Here's Cunning cutting the corner. Shot! Bad save by Aaron Frankel. Sophia Cunning with a grade A chance there, but comes up empty.
Well, their first shot on net was a good one. Sophia Cunning trying to go short side. Frankel doing a good job, though, tying up that post. And Cunning's so good at accelerating. And you see on that play there how quickly she gained speed to get a good look for Minnesota.
Sophia Cunning, 10th round pick, University of Wisconsin. Good job there on the back check by Cheyenne D'Arcangelo to skate it free. Gets it ahead for Sophie Shirley, who did not play for Boston the last time here. She was out with a concussion at the time. Boston trying to play it to the front. Intercepted there by Dominique Kramer. Kramer back on defense tonight. She's played both positions this year. Loose puck here in the corner. Barking out instructions is Frankel from the blue paint. Now Emily Brown, the former Blaine Bengal, will bang it off the far wing wall. Rink wide pass. Here's Gigi again. She'll shovel it in deep. Lee Steckline back to play it for Minnesota. She'll quickly move it out of the zone. Steckline, 6 points in the first 7 games of the season. She's had none the last 9. Lee Steckline seems poised for a big game soon.
Absolutely, and it doesn't take much for her to get going either. She's so good at getting plays going from the blue line.
Big drive, Sophie Jakes nearly put a hole in the plexiglass. That's what she's known for, that heavy shot from the point. George overskated it a bit. Boston trying to come up for air. Here's Taylor Heisey and her speed again. Pulls up in the corner. Played up for Steckline. Centering pass. Knocked away. Minnesota keeps it alive. Kava plays it back down. Heisey trying to move it to the middle, and she does. Flip toward the goaltender. Frankel comes out and paddles it away.
A good idea there, but should have just taken the shot in the slot. Instead, she looked for that feed coming down the back door. Minnesota, good eye for that offensive zone on that sequence, but couldn't get one in on that.
Here's the great Hillary Knight, the captain for Boston. Across the red line, now gains the Minnesota zone, but it's quickly spit back out by the team in purple. Long drive, snared by Hensley, as we're coming up on the 7-minute mark of period number 1. Job there by Hillary Knight, plays it back to the Minnesota line. Under 13 minutes to go in the period. Picked up here by Keller, Megan Keller, one of their 3 foundational signees. And now it's whistled down with 12:46 to go here in the opening frame. 12 and a half to go in the opening period, still no score. Keller will beat it across on a backhand. Shot saw a little out of her reach. She's quickly surrounded, and Minnesota will have it. Kurzova gets it ahead. There's a long drive through a screen and up off the glass. Grace Zumwinkle, her first shot toward the net. It's not going to be a shot on goal, but Grace has been really good this year. She's got a 3-game point streak. Always seems to have one kind of streak or another going.
Well, and she's just so good at getting to the net. I know we've talked about it with her before in interviews and chatting with her about that. Her eyes are always set on the net, and she will find a way to get there, which is why she's able to pick up so many points. And she has so much speed that she can start plays, get them into the zone. She's just so good in every area of the ice.
Long drive from Lauren Gable. Former Patty Kazmaier Award winner for Clarkson. Gable's going to be playing for Team Canada, the World Championships. We'll talk more about that a little later. This one cycled back into the corner. Claire Budarak for Minnesota throws it toward the middle. That hit a skate, kicked away. Boston trying to move it out, but there's that long reach from Lee Steckline, and she'll swing it around the end boards to the other wing. Pinched up against the wall. 4-player scrum, kick loose. There's Claire to George again for Minnesota. Dug free there by Lauren Gable, but she can't clear the zone. Now finally Boston gets firm command of the puck. And it's Jessica DiGirolamo, who just turned 25 not that long ago. Former captain at Syracuse. Now Darkangela being chased, can't clear the zone. Minnesota holds it in. Driven back in deep. Now Minnesota with some sustained pressure. Fed back to the corner. To George. Couldn't get there before DiGirolamo got it back to the line, and finally Boston able to get it out. And we're going to have a tripping penalty. Our first penalty of the hockey game. And I think Minnesota's going to be shorthanded here for 2 minutes, as Ken Klee's team is going to be on the disadvantage here.
Minnesota 16, minor penalty, tripping.
Well, the fans don't like it, Clay, but this is the right call. Minnesota, a long offensive possession, trying to extend the play at the blue line, and Jakes just got a little too much body on there, gets the leg out, and trips up Boston. I mean,
I could have made that call.
Yeah. That's a trip. So Minnesota will have to try to kill this off now. Boston heading into tonight's game with a 5.6% power play, and 2 power play goals on the season.
Yeah, the only team in the league that has struggled more on the power play is Boston, and now here comes Minnesota shorthanded, looking for a jailbreak goal. Zumwinkle got it in deep. She'll flip it in behind the cage. Now Sophie Jakes, 4 points in 7 games with Minnesota. This is the 2nd time facing her former team. And She takes the first penalty of this hockey game. Already over 30 seconds gone by on this first power play. Minnesota's able to clear. That'll buy some time on the kill. Minnesota's kill also last in the PWHL at 76%, but that power play for Boston's really struggled.
Well, this is one of those situations where something's got to give play.
Last time Minnesota played Boston, they went 0 for 4 on the power play. Point Schofield with a great speed brings it in shorthanded. 50 seconds to go in this first power play of the hockey game. Back out at center, Rattray plays it back for more. There's Rattray again, and that's going to be offside. Whistled down at the line. Liz Shepherds to take this draw for Minnesota. Just outside the line against Tapani. Shepherds in her third game back from injury after missing a few. 30 seconds to go in this power play for Boston. Here's Tapani. Poke checked out first up. Shepherds digging forward for Minnesota. Alina Mueller is there for Boston trying to move it along. Now Tapani comes free. Got it to Mueller. Back for Keller. Now here's Mueller with some room to operate. Wrist shot on, and Hensley was able to see it. Good vision by Nicole Hensley with 4 seconds to go in the advantage.
And guess who was there on the front door looking for the screens, the tap in? It was Susanna Tapani trying to cause some troubles for Nicole Hensley. Here's another look at it. Mueller, who could do so much damage offensively, sends the shot in, and Tapani there. Keeping an eye on things, but Nicole Hensley able to see that one through the shooting lane and get the whistle.
Hannah Brandt right off the draw, got another one on Hensley. But Alina Mueller, of course, their first round pick, number 3 overall in last summer's draft. Their leader in points with 12 on the year. Off another face-off, a shot from Gerard this time. And Hensley again equal to the task, and the power play is over for Boston.
Back at the XL Energy Center, scoreless here between PWHL Minnesota and PWHL Boston. I'm here with PWHL Boston head coach Courtney Kessel. Coach, you weren't able to capitalize on that power play. What's it going to take for your team to get that opening goal here?
Yeah, I think we got to get in and get set up. We didn't really have that opportunity, but I think play a little bit with urgency on entry and then hopefully get some pucks to the net.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Here's Budarak on the near wing side. It's the head for Minnesota back to the Boston zone. 7.5 to go here in the opening period. Brandt now with some room. Brandt coming to the middle. Good back check there by Minnesota to sweep that away and clear it. There's Sophie Jakes getting it done. Jakes took that penalty first of the hockey game, but very effective penalty kill for Minnesota. Tied up here in the corner. Frankel, who's very vocal, again yelling from her net as the puck comes free to Teresa Shopsall. Shopsall will get it back into the Minnesota zone. Bookbinder there for Minnesota. Ratcheted around to Fleming. Fleming tried to clear, couldn't do it. Turned over to Darkangelo. Darkangelo plays it to the point. Pulling up is Healy. Healy feeds it to the middle. There's a drive off the stick of Gable, and that hit a stick and deflects to the near wing corner. Comes Grace Zumwinkle down for Minnesota. Cuts the corner, goes right to the front. Another stick save by Frankel. Great paddle work so far by Aaron tonight.
Well, and how many times have we seen Zumwinkle pull that move here at the XL Energy Center?
You and I were talking with Courtney Kessel before the game, and she said it's nothing that Emma Soderberg has done. In fact, she's been outstanding when she's been called upon this year. In fact, she beat Minnesota a month ago. But Erin Frankel has established herself as their 1A goaltender.
Well, a lot of times when it comes to goaltending, you got to play the hot hand. Goaltenders thrive off consistency like that and opportunity, and Frankel has been their starter.
Panic, wrist shot, save, Frankel, rebound, swept away from out in front. Boy, Frankel is really dialed in. Minnesota hasn't had a ton of scoring opportunities, but they have had some close range shots. Claire DeGeorge will send it across the pond. Swept in on a backhand by Brooke Bryant. 5.5 to go. Here's Sheppers now, who holds it in deep for Minnesota. Sheppers digging for it. Good job supporting the puck. Now to George trying to play it. Boston comes up with it, works it along the near wing side, and Hillary Knight is able to work it back to the Minnesota blue line. Now Mueller, great stick work. Mueller sweeps it back behind her, but nobody trailing on the play. Alina Mueller takes a hard hit from Sophie Jake's. Play continues. Sydney Morin across for Emily Brown. Brown to the blue line. He'll dump it in. Line change for Boston. Can Minnesota catch him on it? Some room to operate in the middle, but swept away by DiGirolamo. And Minnesota will have to regroup. Now here comes Taylor Heisey on the near wing. All kinds of operating room. Heisey pulls up, looking for a pass to the middle. Off the stick of Bookbinder. Heisey keeps it alive, plays it in deep. Centering pass. Heisey lost it. And Boston's able to clear.
That was a great feed, except Heisey was on her backhand. It's tough to execute like that on your backhand when you're in motion, crossing through the crease, or through the slot, I beg your pardon. And Heisey had a chance to get a good shot on net, but just couldn't get it to her forehand fast enough.
Shot 6-3 in favor of Boston. Currently in a tie for 4th place with Ottawa with 20 points. Defender. Actually, that was Fleming who came in. Lost the puck. Lauren Gable overskated it. Now Boston has to play it back to center. It's going to drift all the way back down into the Minnesota end. Melissa Channel trying to clear the zone. It's off the stick of Fleming. Channel again bangs it off the near wing side wall. Long drive from Fratkin is scooped up by Hensley. The only game of the PWHL tonight, Boston and Minnesota. Toronto and Montreal out in front of everybody else. That's why we've got the Canadian flag. See, that's good directing.
Absolutely, and you take a look there at the standings, you see that line separates the current playoff teams and the current non-playoff teams, but the gap between the best and the lowest in the league is closing, but day by day.
Yes,
play. I
it
mean,
is.
it seemed like a month ago you could tell who was the best and who was the worst, and now all of a sudden it's like it's kind of up for grabs for anybody. And with Toronto's 9-game win streak, they charged to the top of the league, where Minnesota and Montreal had been battling for that top spot all season long. Boston's not far behind Minnesota, so it is definitely a battle down the stretch here with just about, 2 months left of play, not including the gap for the World Championship. So a lot on the line in the last handful of games of the regular season.
And again, Minnesota, if they can win it in regulation tonight, they'll have 30 points as well, and it'll be a 3-way tie for first in the league going into the weekend. This is Schaafsol coming in. She'll chase it down in the corner. She's quickly locked up. And puck is taken away by Kurzova. Kurzova lugs it all the way back to the Boston zone with 2.5 to go in the period. At times it's been an entertaining period. We've had some scoring chances for both sides, just nothing on the scoreboard. As I say that, Hannah Brandt spins, puts it down in front. Rattray was kind of caught off balance, couldn't get a shot on.
And Hensley read that play well. She got the stick in there to help break up the play, forcing the sequence out of the crease.
Heisey through the logo at center, near wing to Coyne. The return pass is broken up. And Kendall Coyne Schofield. 8 points in the last 10 games, and there's a goal for Minnesota. As they get on the board first, how about Kendall Coyne Schofield staying red hot?
Well, it's like she knew we were talking about her, Clay. Talking about how good she's been as of late, and scores another one here on this top line for Minnesota. And back behind the net, Minnesota forces a turnover up along the half wall, keeping it in down low. Heisey, no-look pass out to Kendall Coyne Schofield. And that's what teammates who work well together are able to do. Heisey knew Coyne Schofield was going to be parked out front, ready for that pass. Heisey ripped it over to her, and Kendall Coyne Schofield tallies the first one of the night here with 1:48 to go in the period, her 5th of the season.
Minnesota goal, her 5th of the season. Scored by number 26, Kendall Coyne Schofield.
27, Taylor Heisey. And number 22, Natalie Bookbinder.
Heisey and Bookbinder on the assists at 18-12. This so far is quite the reverse from what we saw the last time these two teams played here in Minnesota. Boston got outshot terribly in that game, but won the hockey game. Minnesota getting outshot in this one, but right now they've got the lead 1-0 late in the first. Long drive, broke it up. And now here comes Knight at center for Boston.
Last minute of play.
Under a minute to go in the period. Boy, that's huge. Those goals late, Alexis, in a period. They can be a big lift, and they can also be heartbreaking for the team that gives them up as Brandt puts one on with 48 seconds to go.
Well, especially when you're being outshot or outplayed, and not to say Minnesota's necessarily been outplayed. I think it's been a pretty even period for the most part. Boston's gotten more shots in on net, though. Minnesota getting the first goal of the game, though, and like you said, those goals, the goals late in the period and early in the period are always momentum-shifting goals. And Minnesota getting that first period goal to take the lead here against a team where they were shut out against on their own ice the last time these two teams met. So it's a big goal for multiple reasons for Minnesota.
9 points in the last 11 games for the heart and soul of this team. Kendall Coyne-Schofield, who's got a career in Hollywood now, we understand. We're going to be talking about that later, too. This is true. This is a true story.
I can confirm.
Here she comes again. The sweep one toward the net, easily steered away by Aaron Frankel. Julie Friend is going to be talking to Kendall during the first intermission. Here's a chance out in front. Greco whistles one wide at the cage. Boy, that would have been a devastating goal to give up late if that's a Boston, if that's a goal for Minnesota against Boston there, but that's going to be the end of the first period. As Minnesota shows great energy late, and Kendall Coyne-Schofield gets her 5th of the year.
Back at the XL Energy Center, a late goal by PWHL Minnesota puts them up 1-0 into the first intermission. I'm here with PWHL captain Kendall Coyne-Schofield. Kendall, talk a little bit about that goal and your chemistry with Taylor Heisey. It's probably nice to have her back in the lineup.
Oh yeah, it's nice to have her back, but I think that was just a 200-foot shift. It started in our zone, ended up in their zone in the back of the net, started with our D. Obviously Taylor made a heck of a pass out front, and I just put it in the net.
Now 8 games left in the regular season, more than halfway through the first season of the PWHL. What does your team have to focus on in this final stretch to really get towards the top of the standings?
I think we got to focus on the second period first. They came out hard. You look at the shots, I think we gained some momentum off of that penalty kill. But I think we're looking at the second period and going from there. But yeah, every game is a huge game. Every point is a big point, especially if you look at the standings coming down the stretch.
And like you said, the second period is huge. You know Boston's going to give a really big push. So what's kind of the mindset? What's the conversation in the locker room after the first period?
I think it's shift by shift. It's owning our shifts, owning our battles, our 50-50s, playing the right way with our sticks, being defensively sharp, and just head on a swivel and keep doing what we're doing.
Thanks so much, Kendall, and good luck in the second.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Period number 2. Minnesota in purple, Boston in their visiting white sweaters. And the top line will start for Minnesota with Heisey to take this draw against her former teammate, Susanna Tapani. And Minnesota controls with Steckline wristing it in from center. Quickly jumping on the loose puck is Kava. Minnesota can't set up, though. Boston gains control and quickly moves it out with Emily Brown. Brown got it close to the Minnesota line, has it taken away by Sophie Jakes. Rink-wide pass to Heisey. Heisey now had an assist on that goal in the first period. Broken up out in front. And skating with it is Alina Mueller. You always got to be careful when Alina Mueller is the puck carrier.
Absolutely, she has done so many good things for this Boston team so far this season, and the points she's accumulated, 12 on the season, tied for 5th in the league. Tied for 1st in the league with assists, sitting at 10.
Boy, they really got great production from Abby during her 2 10-day call-ups, which was a total of 9 games. 4 goals and an assist during that span.
You really can't ask for much more out of a player in a situation like that, getting pulled up intermittently throughout the season to help contribute to the roster, and she made the most of her opportunity. And on top of the point, she did accumulate so many other chances that she was able to get on top of that. So she was all over the ice, always noticeable in every game she played in, and helped make a difference in those games for Minnesota.
Really a top-line player, no doubt, but she is a full-time student at the University of Minnesota. That means she's limited to just call-ups as part of the PWHL Players Agreement. 18:20 to go, second period, 1-0 Minnesota. Loose puck to the right of Hensley. D'Arcangelo battling for it there. She's pressured by Bookbinder. Puck squirts free. Minnesota trying to move it out. Sophie Shirley holding it in for Boston. They continue to chop at it along the near wall. Lauren Gable had it momentarily, lost it to Kelly Panner. And here comes Minnesota back the other way. Sophia Cunnin will bang it off the near wing side. Now Krzyzova, she'll send a wrist shot well wide of the near post. Minnesota looking for its first shot on goal here in the period. As is Boston. D'Arcangelo starts it out on the right wing. Having to turn back is DiGirolamo. D'Arcangelo and DiGirolamo on the ice at the same time. That's a tongue twister. As we get icing here with 17:23 go here in the second. Last time Minnesota was on the ice, Denisa Krzyzova scored 2 against Ottawa.
It was her first 2 goals of the season, added to a couple of assists she picked up along the way. And she had such a good game. And she had more opportunities on top of those 2 goals that she scored. She could have easily had a third or a fourth in that game with the way that she was playing. But always nice to get those first couple goals of the season and kind of get into your groove. It's tough when you go throughout the season without getting that first one. Krzyzova can now check that off her list.
She played at Northeastern for head coach Dave Flint, as did Kendall Coyne-Schofield. Those two really got that program turned in the right direction for Dave. And then players like Alina Mueller, who's now with Boston, taking it to the next level. And skipped into the glove, Aaron Frankel, good vision. And Kendall Coyne-Schofield will bring it back for Minnesota. The Patty Kazmaier Award has been narrowed down to the top 10 finalists. That will be announced during the Women's Frozen Four coming up here in a couple of weeks in New Hampshire. This is going to come all the way down. No icing. Held in by Bookbinder. Keller trying to evade the defense. Got it to the line, not out. Bookbinder banned on it. Now some room here for Shopsall. Shopsall takes it to the circle. Great poke check. And it's cleared by Minnesota.
Shopsall already has 2 goals against Minnesota this season. Was looking for a third, but great defense to break that play up and not even need Hensley to make the save there.
Let's go back to that last defensive play from our ref cam tonight.
Great stick work. Keeping the stick exactly where it needs to be. Not wavering, not biting.
1-0 Minnesota trying to get 3 points for a regulation win and get into a 3-way tie with Red Hot Toronto and Montreal atop the league. As we're closing in on the later stages of this first season. For Minnesota, 8 games left in the regular season, including this one. And 3 straight at home, including this one. So a chance for Minnesota to make some hay. Behind the net, trying to flip it on there was D'Arcangelo. Minnesota brings it back. Brooke Bryant gets it in deep. And play's going to be whistled down.
And Minnesota, with all these home games in March, they really need to pick up some points here. Typically, you know, the rule of thumb, you want to go 500 on the road and above average at home. And with a chance here to really build some points in March, you can set yourself up for success down the stretch of that regular season. Once we come back from the break in April, and you got a handful of games left to play, that's not when you want to be trying to battle for positioning. You want to be set up for success ahead of time.
Yeah.
And they can do that here with some wins in March at the XL Energy Center.
Yeah, that break for the World Championships is going to be interesting. We were talking with Courtney Kessel, the head coach of Boston, about that. Professionalism for these players is really going to be tested as players try to stay sharp while they're on that break, whether they're playing in the World Championships or not. Centering pass for Tapani. Look out. Oh, that was steered wide. Maybe Hillary Knight got a piece of it, couldn't tell. And Minnesota's able to chop it out of the zone.
Nice hustle by Budarak to get the icing waved off. Great work there. Emily
Brown can't clear it out. Turned over out in front. Sophia Cunnin, her back pass to Budarak just missed her. Now Minnesota comes in again onside with Fleming. Takes a big bump from Sydney Moore and the Minnetonka native. Minnesota holds it in with 13.5 to go here in the second. Loose puck in behind. Minnesota trying to take advantage. Coyne Schofield, her eyes got as big as a pie plate there for a second as that puck was laying behind the net and nobody on it. There's a drive that's broken up. And Minnesota scores on the deflection in front. Great forecheck. And Michaela Cava gets her first goal in a long time. She got 10 games without a point, and she buries one here to make it 2-0.
Well, Coach Courtney Kessel and the rest of Boston on the bench there is going to be pulling their hair out after this one. It was a miscommunication back behind the net that allowed Minnesota to get on this puck. And it was kind of an odd play, and like you said, Minnesota realized the opportunity. Nobody skates to the puck for Boston. Minnesota gets on it. And great work to keep this play alive. And Kendall Coyne Schofield from down low is able to bank this one in.
Oh my. Yeah, Erin Franklin, you can see her reaching behind her. She had no idea that she'd left any room there between the post and her body.
These are the times in the season that you really look forward to. Your eyes just kind of light up when you see the chance to play on home ice against teams who haven't had as great of a record this season and a chance to really build some points. And like we talked about earlier, Minnesota cannot let this opportunity go to waste. You see what Toronto's built with their streak. Boston's creeping back into the picture. You can't let any points slip away at this point in the season.
Again, the top 4 teams make the postseason. Playoff starts second week of May. Top 2 seeds will have home ice advantage in the first round. Best of 5 series. See how Boston responds after that even strength goal at 6:43. Jakes has it taken away. Knight plays it to the middle, gets it back. She'll sweep it in on a backhand. Gable hands off for Tapani. Being frustrated by Sophie Jakes. Those two were involved in the first and only trade so far in PWHL history. Of course, the trade deadline is coming up on Monday, 4 Eastern time. It'll be interesting to see if any trades are made before that deadline. These weekend crowds have been outstanding here in St. Paul. Picked up by Grace Zumwinkle. She'll float it in and chase. Flaherty got it in, but it's kicked back out quickly by Kaylee Fratkin. Fratkin plays it across. Wrist shot goes well wide. Out in front of Hensley. Gigi Marvin had a lot of room to operate. She's always dangerous. The oldest player in the league, but she is still spry at 37.
And always has a lot of family in attendance at the XL Energy Center. She scored the empty net goal the last time these two teams met and talked about it in our interview with her about how much it means to her to play in front of her family. So this is a big game for players like that who get to return to their home state and face off against Minnesota.
There's Sophie Shirley through a screen out in front. Hensley saw that all the way, but it stays out of the net.
Well, Boston's best chance of the period, maybe even the game, you could say, as Hensley was out for the count. And Boston could not find a way to put it in the net.
Flaherty lost her stick. Quickly picks it back up. Emma Greco now will start it out on the far wing. Held in by Boston. Boston desperately needs the next one, down 2-0. DiGirolamo plays it from her own blue line to Alina Mueller. Mueller back to the middle. Broken up by Budarak. Now loose puck here in the near circle. Minnesota trying to clear the zone. Mueller doing a good job on the forecheck, trying to hold it in. And now Healy there to support the puck for Boston. Locked up along the wall. Officials allowing him to play on. Tapani drops it back for Mueller. Kind of a muffled shot. Hensley makes an easy save. Held in at the line by Healy. Her drive never got through. Another shot. That time DiGirolamo. And now we're going to get a whistle.
Welcome back to the XL Energy Center, where PWHL Minnesota leads PWHL Boston 2-0 midway through the game. I'm here with PWHL Minnesota head coach Ken Klee. Ken, your team has a 2-0 lead here midway through the game. What do you like out of your effort so far from your team?
Well, I like that we've been opportunistic to capitalize on our chances. We just certainly need to clean up our D zone, though, and we seem to be icing the puck where we don't need to be. So we need to make sure we just, make a little crisper passes to come out clean, and then we'll have plenty of chances offensively.
Appreciate your time, coach.
Thank you.
Back to you, Clay.
All right, Julie, thank you. False alarm, no penalty. That last whistle was because the puck was played with a high stick, but it was not a high stick penalty. So just the one penalty in the hockey game so far. That was a Sophie Jakes tripping penalty back in the first period. There's the veteran pro D'Arcangelo keeping it in deep. Got it for Shirley. Now D'Arcangelo again, spun off the puck by Melissa Channel, and Minnesota is able to gain control. Minnesota gets it to their own blue line and out. Driven right back in by Fratkin. 8:20 to go. Not a lot of shots on goal really in this hockey game now, especially when you consider that Minnesota and Boston combined for over 60 shots the last time they played. Scoring chance. Minnesota goes by the boards. Now Boston comes back the other way. Taylor Girard trying to set up in the zone. Got it down low for Pelkey. They swing it over to the far side for Morin. That hit a body out in front. The rebound comes out. Gigi Marvin's shot hits a body, and Karam's back out.
Well, there's an example of why there hasn't been as many shots in this game. A lot of block shots or tip shots that have just not gotten through to the net.
Ooh, centering pass, Kurzova. Again, a block shot. Didn't get through to the goaltender. Now Minnesota again, 2-on-1, down low. Oh, neutralized out in front. Minnesota on the backside couldn't get a shot on. That was Grace Zumwinkle. Bookbinder trying to hold it in for Minnesota. She can't. Here's Taylor Girard again. Tries to hand off for Moore. Taken away by Britton Fleming. Loose along the wall. Marvin tried to play it back to her D. D'Arcangelo has to chase after it. Here's Hillary Knight now. She'll feed it up the wall. That's going to be an icing call. Let's go back to the last two Minnesota chances from overhead.
They're looking for that third goal. Bit of insurance on this lead. They've got a nice shot there. Frankel comes out, is able to make the save. And then the backdoor attempt here by Zumwinkle. Great job defensively getting her all tied up so she can't get that shot off. And the next goal in this game is going to be a big one because the difference between a 3-goal lead and a 1-goal lead is so significant in hockey. And Boston, you can tell they're feeling that here in the second, hoping to be the team that scores next.
Yep, feeling a little pressure perhaps. Again, we're currently in a tie for 4th place with Ottawa with 20 points. Again, the top 4 teams make the playoffs. A 2-on-2 now for Minnesota. Budarak tried to backhand it out in front, broke it up. Tapani on the right wing has her pass intercepted. Cunningham walks it back into the Boston zone. Healy now takes it back. Tried to feed it ahead for Hillary Knight, and that's out of her reach. Minnesota trying to pick it up at center. Sheppers overskated it. Shopsall takes it back for Boston. Shopsall out in front. That centering pass just out of the reach of Hannah Brandt.
Great idea there on that sequence. Just putting it right in the crease. Looking for the tap in, or the tip in, I should say. And Minnesota able to shut it down.
Great hit there by Greco to take Rattray off her skates. Boston was the more physical team in the first period. Now Minnesota getting its payback. Shot down low, broken up. Never got through. It's going to come down on Hensley. She'll keep it away from Gable. Keller throws it toward the net. There's Gable again, lurking at the side of the cage. D'Arcangelo trying to play it toward the middle. Held up at the half wall. Drops it back down in the corner. We have 5 minutes to go in the period. 2-0 Minnesota. Here comes Taylor Heisey now. Heisey has an assist tonight. Dropped in behind the net. Boston able to clear the zone. Sophie Jakes pumps it right back in on a backhand. Here's Lee Steckline. 30-year-old Roseville native. Boston takes it away, but they've got to scramble back in their own zone.
Minnesota's making this a two-zone game right now. They are bottling everything up. Hard for Boston to break out right now.
D'Arcangelo's going to try and get it across, and she does for Pelkey. But quickly back defensively is Minnesota. And right back out of the zone. Panic tried to get to it. Boston pumps it back into the Minnesota end with 4 minutes to go in the period. G.G. Marvin doing battle there with Grace Sumlin, the two of the greats in the game right now. Long drive handled by Hensley, who has played really well tonight.
And we've talked about this goaltending duel all season long, Clay. Right from the get-go, when we saw each of these goaltenders play for the first time this season, we knew Minnesota was going to have something special in between the pipes.
Nicole Hensley making her 10th start tonight, trying to end a personal 2-game losing streak. And we said it before, she hasn't played since February 27th. So coming in well-rested, obviously dialed in tonight. Trying to tip it on out in front. Minnesota couldn't get a good shot. That was Sheppers. Boston back the other way with Mueller having her shot knocked down. This is Claire to George. Feeding it across, and Sheppers right in on Aaron Frankel. Makes the save.
Minnesota seems to have found their game more and more as this period has gone on. Just over 3 minutes to go. Another look at that last feed. Good job finding the opportunity in the slot there. And a look at it from the ref cam, a reverse angle here. And Frankel able to see that puck cleanly and make the save. Minnesota now leading in shots on net. They've been trailing all night in that category, but now take over and add that.
Feels like there have been more shots than what's actually officially posted right now. But you said it before, so many have been blocked down low. 8 stages of period number 2. Here's an opportunity for Heisey moving in. Shot, save, Frankel, and is able to capture it in her mitt.
Well, Heisey, you can hear her calling for it all the way up here. She was all alone at the top of the zone waiting for the pass to take it up the ice. Here's a look at it from that other angle. Heisey picks it up here. The gap immediately closes on her, and good job by Frankel to maintain her footing there and not get pushed into the net by her own player. And Heisey trying to get that 3rd goal for Minnesota, but good job defensively by Boston. You know if Heisey gets the shot off she wants, it's going to be a good one. And they made that a tough shot for her. She wasn't able to shoot it like she normally does, and Frankel makes the save.
This team is so much better with her back, no doubt. She has brought life back to the Minnesota offense. She was out for a month with that shoulder injury.
And we showed the graphic at the start of the broadcast, but with Heisey in the lineup, Minnesota averages about a goal more a game than they do without her in the lineup.
Keller, wrister, hit a skate or a stick. Somehow got to the net, and Hensley with a pad save gets the whistle.
Hensley doing a great job tying up that post. And when in doubt as a goaltender, if you don't know where the puck is, don't move. And Hensley able to hold her ground here. This puck comes in from the blue line, shot ripped through, hits a body on the way in, changes direction, and Hensley just lays out and waits for the whistle and is able to keep that right pad tied up against that post to not allow anything to get underneath her, keeping this a 2-goal lead for Minnesota.
had 33 saves to beat this Boston team in the season opener. Again, is the hard luck loser on February 25th. When Minnesota got shut out, Hillary Knight sends it toward the net. That was blocked by Steckline. Hensley's living right tonight, though, it seems like. She's getting some breaks, too, on some plays. Steckline trying to clear the zone. It's held in on the right point. Not long. Does it stay in the Minnesota end? Here's Grace Zumwinkel. Backtracking, though, is Megan Keller and takes it away from Grace. Here's Keller now. Feeds the right wing. Long drive from Hillary. And Hillary Knight is denied by Hensley.
She was able to see that one the whole way through, make the glove save, and bring up another whistle. Boston with some good chances here in the last minute or so, looking for that late goal here in the second period, trying to get on the scoreboard. Nice work to fight off the stick check there, and then ripping the shot off. Hensley able to make the save. Like I said, Boston could really use the goal here, Clay, heading into the second intermission, just to try to break that goose egg on the scoreboard for now.
Off the faceoff, they win it. Here's Morris. Skates it in, trying to get a pass back for Shopsall. Down low, a chance! And Hensley got a piece of it that's sent wide as Rattray was lurking down low.
And a good chance, she just couldn't get any elevation on that, and Hensley had the lower part of the net all tied up, able to push it wide.
Shopsall gets it back for Emily Brown. Brown maneuvering down into the corner. Bangs it off the inboards. Off to the far wing side, and Tapani. About a minute to go in this period.
Last minute of play in this period.
Minnesota gets to the loose puck. Sheppers will lift it out. Bounce it back to the Boston end where Morin will gather it up. Plays it back to the Minnesota line. Good period for Minnesota. Hoping to take a 2-0 lead into the second intermission. Kava has the goal in the period. She's dragged down. And this is going to be a Boston penalty on Susanna Tapani.
Look there, Coach Courtney Kessel taking the situation in as Tapani, the former PWHL.
Boston 88, minor penalty holding.
Former PWHL Minnesota player will take a seat in the box. Funny enough, Jake's had the penalty in the first, now Tapani's got the penalty here. And they were the two that were traded for each other. So here's another look at the penalty on the ref cam. And based off that look, I can see why the penalty was called. I had a great angle of that. I'm loving this ref cam. I mean, we've got some great shots of all the action happening down on the ice. Another look there at the cameras that they're wearing to bring you all of those shots.
Power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. Power through tough messes. Minnesota late power play opportunity here in the second period.
Penny of Boston for holding. 19-25.
Power play has been an Achilles heel for Minnesota this year. 3 for 39. And no one on the active roster has a power play goal this year. Tapani has one power play goal for Minnesota, and she now plays for Boston. And Abby Boreen has the other two, and she's inactive.
Sophie, your team shut out Minnesota in this building a little bit over 2 weeks ago. What was kind of the game plan heading into tonight's matchup?
Yeah, I think it was probably kind of similar as we had in that game. I think, obviously just getting as many pucks as we can in the net, and obviously covering this goalie's eye. She's a really good goalie, and just got to get in front of her a little bit more.
What has Minnesota done so well in this game that's limited your time in the offensive zone?
Well, they pack the middle a lot. I think anytime they can get a shot block, they're doing that for their team. And I think, for us, it's just kind of getting past those layers right now and making sure that we're getting pucks on net.
Good chances late in that second period. Heading into the third period, how do you cut this lead in half and start chipping away?
Yeah, I think we're keeping our head ups and keeping positive and keeping the energy on the bench. I think that's the main thing, and eventually those goals will come.
Thanks so much, and good luck in the third.
Thank you.
More to come from the XL Energy Center in the second intermission.
And the Minnesota power play has been one of its shortcomings this year. Just 3 power play goals on the season.
And Minnesota, if they really want to put a dagger in this game and in the overall energy and momentum of this Boston team, a power play goal here would get the job done for that. So we'll see if Minnesota can take advantage of this opportunity.
Taylor Gerard shorthanded, lugs it back to the Minnesota line. She'll play it across for Brandt. Brandt tries to center for Keller, who is knifing in from the far wing. Minnesota bottled up in their own zone here with a minute and 15 seconds gone by in this penalty.
And for Boston, they forced overtime 3 times this season when trailing after 2 periods of play. They do not have a regulation win in that situation and just 1 overtime or shootout win in that situation. So Minnesota in good hands right now with this 2-goal lead, but still a lot of this game left to be played.
Point Schofield, a 2-point game so far. She's out in front in the slot. Jenks plays it off to the far wing for Kava. Back for Heisey now on the near wing side. Juggled off her stick. Tried to get it down to Sheppers. Out of her reach. Just 5 seconds to go in this penalty time, and that's going to do it as D'Angelo brings it back the other way. So Minnesota's power play goes by the boards. Tapani back into the play for Boston. Well, picked off. Here's Coyne Schofield. She's been outstanding tonight, and that goes over the shoulder of Erin Frankel. Everything from her has been on net tonight. Goal and assist for the Minnesota captain. Here's Mueller. Fed it to an open wing. Tapani will sweep it back in deep. Here's Mueller again. For the point for Kaylee Fratkin. Fratkin holds it in, but Minnesota's able to clear. This is going to drift in on the goaltender, so no icing, and Frankel is going to hold here. 17:51 to go in regulation. Let's talk more about Kendall Coyne Schofield. What a game she is having.
You talked about the goal and the assist she's tallied already, and look at this. She sees the option to maybe make a pass there, but instead opts to take the shot, which no one's ever going to fault you for that. If the puck doesn't go in the back of the net, but at least you gave it your best effort, fans, coaches will be happy with that opportunity, and Kendall Coyne Schofield gets a good look there, ripping one off the shoulder of Erin Frankel.
Battle for it here in the corner. Frankel at times has kept Boston in this hockey game. She played her prep hockey down the road at Shattuck St. Mary's. She's very used to these surroundings here in Minnesota. At the point, Morin tried to get it down low. Hit several players on the way toward Hensley. Held in by D'Angelo. She'll hand back for Rattray. Now here's Tapani through a screen. Hensley able to pinch that one off.
They have been able to pick up points in many different ways when they're away from their home rink.
Oh, centering pass from Steckline to Heisey. And now it's getting physical out in front of the Boston net. Remember, the last time these two teams met here, there was pushing and shoving, and Kendall Coyne Schofield was involved a couple of weeks ago in that as well.
That she was, and I don't think this puck was fully covered, which is why Minnesota continued to go after it. The whistle blew, and Boston was frustrated that Minnesota was there whacking away after the whistle. The net comes off this morning, some words I'm sure are exchanged, and here's another look at it. The puck is actually on the right side of Erin Frankel. So from the opposite side, this is a great camera angle for the scuffle. I mean, come on, I want a referee shot of every scuffle in hockey for the rest of the time.
That was Coyne Schofield and Shirley doing the majority of the pushing and chirping. Here she is again with speed, a 2-on-1 for Minnesota. Has Heisey with her. She shoots, coming out. Erin Frankel to saw off the angle. 24-year-old Erin Frankel out of Chappaqua, New York. Rattray lost his stick behind the play. Minnesota trying to set up. Cunnin gathers it up in the corner, plays it down. Fleming overskated it. Hannah Brandt sweeps it to the blue line and out of the zone. Cunnin feeds it ahead. Played in by Minnesota. They're going to make a line change. 15 and a half to go. 2-0 Minnesota. 3 points for a regulation win. Minnesota 3 points behind Montreal and Toronto, who are tied for first place right now. This is the only game in the league tonight. Hensley is going to leave it. for Bookbinder. Minnesota gets it to the line and out. Here's Claire to George. She'll walk in. Played it across, and that was behind Brooke Bryant. So Boston will have it. Here's Kraken. Works it ahead. Gargantua got it in deep behind the Minnesota cage. Very cautious game being played right now by both teams almost. And, you know, Boston needs to be playing with a sense of urgency.
And it seems, if anything, Minnesota's playing with more urgency in this third period, which has got to make Coach Kenckley happy. Sometimes you'll see teams go into a third period with the lead and they'll sit back. Minnesota is not doing that.
Here's Zumwinkle. She'll attack. And the rebound gets on from Kelly Panic, but Karen Frankel's going to keep it up.
I mean, Minnesota's looking for that third goal. They're not playing prevent defense right now and hoping the chips are just going to fall in their favor. They are looking to extend this lead, and another look at Zumwinkle flying off the boards here, carrying in on the backhand. Frankel has done a good job of tying up the post here today. There's been a couple opportunities where Minnesota has tried that similar shot. And speaking of Grace Zumwinkle, a look at the goal leaders. Zumwinkle tied in third place with 7 on the season. She's been tremendous for Minnesota this year, and pretty good company with some of the other top goal scorers in the league there.
Last time Minnesota played was Tuesday night of last week here against Ottawa. Grace had 2 assists in that hockey game. Centered for Kava. She was tied up out in front of the net. Back here to the Minnesota blue line with 13 and a half to go. Jess Healy works it up along the wall. Steckline's going to drive it in for Minnesota on an angle. Scoop back into the Minnesota end. Here's Budorak on the near wing. Tries to get it off for Fleming, who's racing in behind her. Steckline supports the puck. She'll lift it in behind the cage. Emily Brown trying to move it out for Boston. Held in on the far point by Greco. Loose in behind the Boston net. Morin, good head pass to Hannah Brandt, but it's intercepted there by Kramer. Kramer keeps it out of the zone. And turned back over to Minnesota. Here's Kramer. Back out to center ice. Now Rattray will try again for Boston. Trying to get a shot toward Hensley. That went well wide. Shopshaw couldn't turn one on. Minnesota works it back to center ice. It's going to go all the way in deep. Rattray the first one there. Turned over out in front, and a shot by Brooke Bryant.
Great job by the initial forechecker to get that puck turned over. Bryant was ready for the pass and got a good look there, but not able to get that third goal for Minnesota.
Brooke Bryant out of Linden, California, looking for her first goal in league history. Hensley's going to muffle this one with 11:57 to go. Off the face-off here in the Minnesota zone. Boston trying to get the next one and cut this lead in half. Minnesota leading 2-0 late. Shot from Kraken from high. The slot didn't get through. And that has been the case a lot of the game here tonight. Minnesota's blocked a ton of shots. There's another one. That time it was Lee Steckline doing the honors. Boston still dangerous here behind the net. Kraken now knocked down. Kelly Panic comes over. Plymouth, Minnesota native trying to move it out for the team in purple. Mueller got it to the point. Kraken back for Mueller along the half wall. Kraken and Mueller playing a game of catch-up high, and now down low is Tapani. Tapani driven to the outside. Oh, Tapani took a hard hit from Sophie Jakes right in front of our ref cam. No penalty call.
Looks like she said something to the official as well, but no arm up. A nice hard hit by Minnesota.
Bouncing puck here at center. Gathered up. Rattray will hand off for Brandt. There's a drive that whistles high and wide for DiGirolamo.
And Minnesota got a stick on that, was able to deflect it up and over the net.
Some room for Kendall Coyne Schofield. Overskated it, had to go back to neutral. Again, a 2-point night so far for the Minnesota captain. He's got a goal and an assist. Boston active out in front, taken away by Heisen. Here's Taylor Heisen. Taking it wide. Drops it back. One-timer goes wide for Michaela Cava. Cava already with a goal tonight. Here's Brandt again. They send it across. And Boston's able to gain the zone. Under 10 minutes to go past the halfway point of the third period. Minnesota holding on to a 2-0 lead. Eyeing those 3 points for a regulation win. Trying to get back into first place. This is Lauren Gable. Throws it across behind Taylor Gerard. Now Minnesota trying to take advantage the other way. A 3-on-2, but it's slow to materialize. Now here comes Gigi Marvin in on the far wing. Poked off her stick nicely by Melissa Channel. Channel just standing her ground against the vet.
Minnesota has done so well defensively here tonight, breaking up plays with both their sticks and their bodies, blocking shots, clogging up shooting lanes. It's been tough for Boston to get anything to the middle of the ice tonight, which is why Minnesota's been able to keep them off the score sheet so far.
Another shot that doesn't get through, blocked by Minnesota. Keller jumps on it on the far wing side. Minnesota gathers it up, moves it out. Claire to George leading the break. As Sheppers going toward the net, but good back check by Boston. Under 9 minutes to play. This is going to bounce in on Hensley. She'll leave it for her defense. Shots even at 17 apiece.
And now things are going to start to get scary for Boston with just 8.5 minutes to go. They've got to try to find that next goal. Give themselves some confidence going down the home stretch of this game.
Here's Frankel. She's been active all night with her paddle. Got it away, but there is DeGeorge to still get a shot on from close range, but Frankel makes the save. Let's go back to that hit moments ago. Tapani takes a crushing blow from Jakes. Well, the 2-goal lead stand. Boston's running out of time. Just over 8 minutes to go. Megan Keller feed it back to the point. Boston trying to set up on offense. Thrown to the middle. Steckline trying to get a stick on it for Minnesota. Here's Alina Mueller, so dangerous. The Swiss miss sends one down low right through the blue paint. She was playing for the Swiss Olympic team at the age of 15. Here's Keller now, long drive, and Hensley saw it the whole way.
At this point in the game, if you're Minnesota, I know they started this period still pushing, looking for that third goal. Now you just want to play smart defense. You want to lock things down, keep it to the perimeter, make sure Hensley can see these shots cleanly. Yeah, a lot of players who will get a chance to play in the World Championships, and we'll see how they regroup when play resumes in the PWHL.
Rebound out there, Cava, a shot, and that play is going to be whistled down. I think we got a penalty.
I think we do, and it's going to be against Minnesota, I believe. I'm not sure what the call is, though.
Or was it just a hand pass? Maybe just a hand pass. So, Minnesota buzzing around the Boston net, and play whistled down because of a hand pass. Right there, Heisey got a shoulder on it. Can't do that. Play with your stick. And now we're under 7 minutes to go. Janie Lee Rattray gets it to the Minnesota line. She'll drive it in. Line change for Boston. Going back into her own zone is Kraken. And that pass missed as well. Here's puck here at center. Fleming trying to move it for Minnesota. Swept back into the Minnesota end. Just over 6 minutes to go. Boston shut out Minnesota the last time they met here in St. Paul, 2-0. Minnesota trying to return the favor. Aaron Frankel is going to ask for a face-off in the Boston zone.
Bit of a collision back behind the net.
Now a penalty finally. We've had a couple of false alarms. This one is for real. This is going to go against Boston.
Looks like DiGirolamo is going to take a seat in the box here. She was tangled up with Budarak.
Number 22's got a minor penalty for a knee.
Knee penalty. Take another look at it back behind the net. DiGirolamo coming in there. And yeah, I think that's the right call. Knee on knee back behind the net. DiGirolamo and Budarak get tangled up. Kind of a tough sequence, but I mean, that is the penalty. So Minnesota now, I mean, you score a goal here, you pretty much put the last nail in the coffin. We'll see if Boston can send them on.
Another Tiger Tau power play.
Time 13:56. DiGirolamo for Dean, 13:56.
13:56 time of that penalty.
For a game that's had very few penalties, not an ideal time for Boston to take one.
Minnesota 0 for 1 so far. Heisey gets a shot right on. Here's Zumwinkle. On the near wing side, being very patient. Finally a wrister down low. Panic was trying to tip it on. Zumwinkle, one time she scores! And there it is.
Look on Aaron Frankel's face says it all. Zumwinkle, with her 8th goal of the season, might have just put this one away for Minnesota. And what a shot it was. That was a beauty. Let's take another look at it. Play starts up high, passed over to Zumwinkle in the circle, who just rips it home. And Frankel was over there. She was just a little deep in the crease when the shot came through. Was not able to cut that angle off how she'd like, but that's because the passing Minnesota did. Frankel was forced to move from left to right. Wasn't able to get set up how she wanted to, and Zumwinkle with the one-timer made her pay for it. Makes it 3-0 Minnesota.
4th power play goal of the year for Minnesota. And Grace Zumwinkle now on a 4-game point streak. 3-0.
Minnesota goal, her 8th of the season. Scored by number 13.
Time of the goal, 14:43.
Assist number 19, Maggie Flaherty. And number 2, Lee Steckline.
Flaherty and Steckline get the assist.
14:43.
And we were talking about Steckline being on a point drought for 9 games. Well, she's finally off that schneid. And you knew again that it was only a matter of time before Lee Steckline got volatile again on offense. 4.5 to go. Hensley's going to make no mistake, pounces on it. Minnesota leading 3-0, 4:23 to go, and with a win in regulation, they can get back into first place.
And that 3rd goal that Minnesota scored here in the 3rd period, significant, not only because it extended the lead for Minnesota, but also they don't score a ton of goals in the 3rd period. This season, just 6 goals in the 3rd, making it 7 here tonight. And you can see on your screen the face of Aaron Frankel, who is on the bench, not between the pipes. So with 4:22 to go, Courtney Kessel pulls the plug on Frankel, and we'll see if her team can get some goals with the extra attacker.
Tapani up top for Kessel. Boston working with 6 offensive players, and it's cleared out of the zone. Good job by Minnesota there to just get it out. Boston has to come back in. There's a shot on. Hensley left a rebound out there, but nobody to jam at it for Boston. Tapani stapled into the wall. Here's Gigi Marvin now. She'll hand off for Tapani. Back for Keller. Keller up for Knight. Keller across. Tapani moving down low. Trying to hit Knight with that pass. It was out of her reach in behind. Keller throwing it out was Knight.
14:43.
Kept alive by Marvin. 3:20 to go in the hockey game. Empty net for Boston. Trying to get on the scoreboard. Hensley has a shutout going. Mueller high in the point. And it's going to be cleared by Minnesota.
Another block shot. Minnesota has racked up so many block shots here tonight. Heading into the 3rd period, they had 11. And Boston having trouble getting some shots through to the net. They have gotten a couple here with the extra attacker, Amanda Pelkey. looking for the first goal of the game for Boston here. Good work to get it in down low. And Hensley has to fight that one off with the arm. Just about 3 minutes to go now in this one.
Amanda Pelkey was on the 2018 U.S. Olympic team. Had a great career at Vermont. We're under 3 minutes to go. Boston trying to get up the ice and get Frankel back to the bench. Lauren Gable able to get it in deep. There goes Frankel. Extra skater on. Here's Morin. Wrist shot. Hit her own player. That was Hillary Knight. Minnesota comes up with it. Natalie Bookbinder sends it off the glass, and it leaks out of the zone. Good play by the former Wisconsin Badger. 2:10 to go. Boston holds the zone. Knocked down in front, and Minnesota's going to send it down. They score. Taylor Heisey puts a bow on this one. It's 4-0.
Well, Minnesota was doing a great job in the last couple of minutes here of getting in front of shots, not letting a lot get through to Hensley. And another one here, chopped down by Minnesota. And Heisey scores the empty net goal. She has a multi-point game now as well. Her 4th goal of the season. That's Minnesota's 2nd empty net goal scored on the season.
Get the feeling like Taylor Heisey is making up for lost time. Again, sitting out for a month with that injury.
Minnesota goal, her 4th of the season. Strike line number 27.
That's probably the knockout blow here in the final stages of this one in the 3rd period. Unassisted at 17:57. There's another one that's tapped out in front by Budarak, went just wide of Frankel. He's going to stay in between the pipes now for the rest of the game, it appears.
There's times in games and losses where you can point to the goaltender and say they could have done better. But in a game where your team is shut out, you can't blame the goaltender for that. You need the skaters in front of you to find ways to score goals. And Frankel made a lot of big saves here today and kept this a close game when Minnesota wanted to extend the lead earlier in the game. And she did her job as best she could here tonight. Minnesota able to beat her 3 times. And the Boston skaters in front of her just never able to find the back of the net with 1:10 to go in the 3rd.
You talked about it before, Alexis. Maddie Rooney with 2 shutouts on the year, including the one in the home opener against Montreal. Hensley hasn't had one yet, and especially after getting beat by Boston 2-0 the last time these two teams met, even though Minnesota really outshot Boston in that game significantly. It's going to feel good for her if she can hang on and get a goose egg here tonight.
Hensley looking for the last lap against Frankel, who got the shutout against her. Like you said, the last time these two teams saw each other. And Minnesota playing a very strong game here today on home ice against this Boston team.
Minnesota looking for more. Blocker save, Frankel. 15 seconds to go. Minnesota trying to get greedy here. They want another one. Flaherty a drive. Budarak will chase it down into the corner. Here's Bryant playing it to the point. 3 seconds to go. Long drive. Kramer, that caroms wide. And that's going to do it. First career shutout in the PWHL for Nicole Hensley as Minnesota's back in first place in a tie with Montreal